everyone, and welcome to Locker Talk, episode 57, the show everything WWE, past, present, and future. I am your host, Colton, here to bring you all my thoughts on a very special night, the very first night of the first ever SmackDown Live pay-per-view Backlash. And so we are here. I'm obviously doing a show. As you can see by the plain walls, I am in my new apartment, which is exciting and fun, except it's not because about everything that can go wrong has gone wrong, but that's okay. We're past that now and everything's looking up, except for the Colts defense today was just some of the worst example of football I've ever seen in my life. And apparently I have bugs, so that's fun, even though that's an insect. Not a bug. There is a difference if you didn't know it. Bugs and insects. All bugs are insects, but not all insects are bugs. Look it up. But anywho, so yeah, the Colts lost today in a very depressing fashion. So it was right before the start of the show, and so I wasn't really looking forward to Backlash at all because I was in a foul mood because of that. And the build up to this one has been very short. It hasn't been great, SmackDown, the whole B show kind of thing didn't really excite me. But I was excited about the fact that Backlash was coming back. One of my favorite pay-per-views growing up as a kid, always the one right after WrestleMania, which always had some good spots. I remember, The Rock beat, I think, Triple H at one Backlash for the title. One year I specifically remember, which is all great fun. So now, before we get into my thoughts on the show, we're going to do what we do every week. And by we, I mean me, because it's me, obviously. I'm not sitting next to anyone here. So we have a few tweets. Thank you for all of you guys who have tweeted out. All two of you. And Farmer, you texted me. Appreciate that. So the first one comes from @MaxTheKing_. Actually, it might be 2 underscores. I will get an official ruling on that, and I will get back to you guys on that. And Max has said, AJ is undoubtedly the king of wrestling right now. Only Kurt Angle rivals him. I find it hard to disagree with that. Absolutely phenomenal. Next comes from @KDP Buddha, who is Jared, who says, I really enjoyed the show and most of the matches. Felt like a more hyped SmackDown Live, though. Didn't truly have a pay-per-view feel. Really happy with the outcome of the matches. Gives them a good direction to build on, but man, Wyatt needs a pay-per-view win. I don't know what you're talking about. He got a win against a 12-time champion tonight. We'll get there. And last but not least, the #1 fan of Locker Talk, Farmer, who is so nice, has decided to text me all of his thoughts, which is good because that's what I asked him to do, has said, IC title match shows that Ziggler does have it, regardless of what happened with him and Ambrose. Happy that Becky won. I think the writers continually give her great storylines and not the typical diva BS. Slater winning was just great low-key storytelling, unlike Raw's tag division. Hyperbolic. It's fun to say. Heel Usos are quite impressive. Poor Bray can't catch a break. And the title match left me speechless. Everything is looking up for SmackDown. Even the pre-match show was good. And as a side note, the 2 hours and 40 minutes was damn nice too. I agree. It was really great timing. That was another thing I was worried about. Also, another tweet coming in late from @KDP Buddha. KDP Buddha. You can tell it's been a while since I've done one of these shows, and not just a great, glorious one, which you should definitely go watch if you haven't done that already. Who says, I think I could get used to the short shows with the quality of matches they put on. Overall, a great show. So yeah, since those last two thoughts were about the length of the show, I'll definitely get onto that. So for the show, there's only 6 matches announced and a 3-hour show. So obviously, if you're any decent At math, that works out to about 30 minutes a match. Oh, I thought I caught it. Never mind. 30 minutes a match with entrances and video packages, yada, yada, yada. And so obviously there was going to be a ton of filler, or it was going to be a shorter show, or we're going to have really long matches. One of those things was going to happen. And kind of a combination of all of those things happened. And I was worried about it, but I think the timing was really good. There was quite a bit of filler. The network breaks seemed to be a little longer, but overall it didn't really bother me that much. What's bothering me is it's really, really like oddly quiet in this apartment right now, and it's kind of makes me feel weird just talking out loud and being the only one here, and I don't really know what's going on. With that, maybe I'm paranoid. I don't know. That's not important. What we're here to talk about is Backlash. So we start off on the pre-show, coming to you live from Virginia somewhere. Couldn't tell you where in Virginia they were from, where they were at. I'm blanking on any city in Virginia right now, other than Roanoke. For some reason, I don't know why that's the only Virginian city that's coming into my mind, but they were in Virginia. And the crowd was decent throughout the night. But we start off with Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews. And so a rematch from TakeOver something or other, which I'm really excited that Mauro brought up, because it seems that in WWE, anything that happened in NXT doesn't really mean anything, especially with the whole Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens thing, where it's, it all started at the Royal Rumble. Come on. It didn't all start at the Royal Rumble. The air turned on. That's the noise for me. It didn't, but yeah, this is a really, really good match. I'm surprised and happy that Corbin got the win. These are obviously two young guys with very bright futures, and they put on one heck of a match for pre-show. And excuse me, those dino nuggets I had for dinner coming back up. Excuse me. So anywho, good match. Not really a whole lot to say. I don't really know where they go from there, whether or not they continue to do the Corbin and Kalisto thing, whether or not Apollo Crews continues to smile his beautiful smile, which I won't lie, I'm rather jealous of. Anywho, that's not important. So we start the show coming from somewhere Virginia. And out comes Shane O'Mac and good old Daniel Bryan, because SmackDown isn't about those authority figures now, is it? Yeah, no, it's not at all. But thankfully, it was just one of those things, again, that we had to waste a little bit of time, because obviously we weren't going to have a match with Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton, it would seem, if you believe rumors on the internet, and the internet rumors turned out to be true. So we start off with the what's it called? The 6-pack elimination challenge for the inaugural SmackDown Women's Championship, which is a mouthful. So first thoughts, holy crap, Alexa Bliss looked amazing, which I know we're not supposed to judge them based off the way they look. How can I know? She's very pretty and all that stuff. Anyway, so first starting off the match was a bit of a cluster, as a lot of multi-person matches can be. And then we kind of get into that thing where there's two people in the ring and then everybody else is laid out on the outside. And that's one thing I didn't like about the match. Here, I'm going to try something. Yeah, get that 75% line on the eyes is what you're supposed to do for film. I didn't like they kept throwing each other to the outside, and even the genius David Otunga, the Harvard graduate, managed to pick this out in the fact that why are they throwing each other over the ropes or through the ropes and you can't get a victory on the outside? It didn't make a whole lot of sense, but thankfully as soon as Mr. Otunga, Mr. whoever his famous wife is, pointed that out. It magically went away. And so we started to see some good action. There was a lot of cool stuff. They did the superplex and the power bomb spot on the corner. Naomi. Okay, we're gonna stop, backtrack. I'm gonna talk about Naomi here for a second. So I see where everyone talks about how great Naomi is and how much of an athlete she is. And don't get me wrong, she's a great athlete. But I don't see why people think she's so good. What on earth was that ridiculously bad rope head scissors spot with Natalya? And she timed it horribly, and Natalya was just standing there kind of confused, and no one knew what to do, and it just looked awful. So she needs to stop. I'm not sold on the whole bright colors dancing thing. I don't like lots of loud noises and bright colors personally, so I'm just not for that. That's not the point. And so we go through these eliminations, and we start off with Alexa Bliss. Sadly, we didn't get to see Alexa Bliss as long as we could have. Then we go to, I believe, Naomi got eliminated next, and then Natalya. And the big surprise here, and what made me jump for joy and get excited, was when Carmella eliminated Nikki Bella. I thought for sure Nikki was going to win it, just because it wasn't going to have nice things. And turned out I got a lot of nice things from tonight, so I can't complain there. But yes, it comes down to Carmella and Becky Lynch, the greatest human alive. And I thought Carmella's heel work was almost there. She was screaming and yelling and upset, and for me, it was almost there. It was almost where it needed to be, but just a little bit off, a little bit too much, or a little bit not enough action. She just kind of stood there for, I think, a little bit too long. But obviously, I think she's going to be a great competitor when she gets all the little minute things figured out. And then we get the first big moment of the night as the Dino Nuggets rebel. Becky Lynch is your first ever SmackDown Women's Champion, and what a great moment, man! You know, Sasha and Charlotte have been feuding over the women's title, and even since they first came on the main roster, it seems that Becky has been a little bit of an afterthought, which is a real shame because she is at least on the same level as those two. And for me, I think she's even better. Out of those two, I would take Becky every day of the week and twice on Sunday. So yeah, it was just a really great feel-good moment. A great interview afterwards with the crowd chanting. Just great, absolutely great. And you know, that's really the one thing I cared the most about going into the show. I mean, thankfully everything else was just kind of the cherry on top. Lots of cherries, even though I don't really like cherries. I like cherry flavorings. I'm not a big fan of cherries. This is a little fun fact for anyone. So Becky wins. Great way to start the show, but kind of made you think, all right, well, this can't really get much better. But next we get the newly heel and newly distinguishable Jimmy and Jey Uso against the Hype Bros, Zack Ryder, O'Reilly. So I have to chalk up this loss of the Hype Bros of Mojo being upset over Rob Gronkowski being out for the season, as he obviously drafted him in the first round of this fantasy draft, and that's now ruined picks. Thankfully, I'm not stupid enough to do that, and so my fantasy team is looking great, as we're I'm pretty sure losing pretty badly. That's not the point. First off, really nice to be able to tell the Usos apart. Jimmy wearing the shirt and Jay not wearing a shirt. It's really easy. Why couldn't they have done this a long time ago? And thank you once again to Morrow for pointing that out. It was really great. It was a good back and forth match. Ryder took a beating for a while, and they had a good hot tag. And just, I thought the Usos were really impressive. I think everyone has gotten extremely bored with them. And they've completely revamped their whole look, their whole persona, and even their entire move set in the ring. Oh my goodness. Who? Dino Nuggets, man. Who would have thought? Yeah, and they went with the submission move, which was really interesting. It was a really good submission move after working on the knee of Zack Ryder, as they did with Chad Gable of American Alpha. And if Chad Gable and Jason Jordan aren't at the live event next Saturday, I'm gonna be really, really pissed off, because that's half the reason I'm going to the damn thing. Just saying, WWE, just be cool, be cool. And so yeah, big win for the Usos. Didn't actually have a problem with them winning for once, which is a big thing to say. And next we're moving right along, man. This is another thing with the timing. We're moving into the third match of the night. The Miz with his lovely wife Maryse against Dolph Ziggler, the show off, the show stealer, the guy who doesn't win matches, Dolph Ziggler, unless he's dressed as Colonel Sanders. Wow, what a fantastic match. And this is what I saw this on Twitter, and I even brought this up myself. It's amazing how Ziggler and Miz put on such a great match tonight, and yet last month at, what was it, I guess SummerSlam it was, Ambrose and Ziggler wasn't a great match. Personally, my thoughts, I thought Ziggler kind of carried Ambrose through the whole thing. And it was kind of sad to see the fact that Ambrose couldn't stay on the same level as even The Miz. The Miz has been awesome lately, unintended. And it's just a great match, back and forth. And I love how it ended with Maryse cheating, spraying hairspray or pepper spray or bug spray or cooking spray, or I think that's about all the sprays that I know. For the Miz to get the victory after a great match, just back and forth stuff. That's a match that I could definitely go and watch again. Which says a lot. Obviously, before they're teasing something with Daniel Bryan. Whew. Whether or not that comes to anything, I don't know. I'm not sure yet. It'll definitely be interesting to see where this plays out. If Ziggler, I assume we'll probably get another shot at the title since Maryse cheated, and you've got the two good general manager and commissioner with Shane O'Mac and D. Bryan on SmackDown, looking out for the good guys and all of us. And so that'll be interesting to see. But man, just what an absolutely great match. Back and forth action. They told a great story. Honestly, it was believable that either guy could win. Obviously the whole Ziggler thing where he doesn't win, you could obviously see a bit, but at the same time, you kind of wondered with Miz pissing off Bryan beforehand, was Bryan going to come out and cost Miz the title? Obviously, it happened the other way around with Maryse causing Ziggler the title. Just so good, so good. It proves when WWE gives two talented guys the time that they'll put on a great show every night of the week, and I'm glad we got to see that. And I have to agree with Farmer. Ziggler still does have that it factor. And really, if he can put on a great match for The Miz, is great. Not to say that Miz is bad. I hate saying it, but Miz has gotten to be really good in the past year or so. He's such a great heel. You can't help but despise this man and everything about him. He does that so well. Honestly, he's probably one of, if not the best heel in the WWE right now, because all those heels, they have the crowd loves them because they're so good, such good wrestlers. Your Kevin Owens, your AJ Styles, which we'll talk about those two coming up soon. Holy crap. And guys like that, and even more, when Triple H is in the Authority, everybody would cheer him because of all that great stuff he did with NXT. And so Miz is just one of those rare guys anymore. You know, he's a true heel, and that's hard to do, I think, anymore in this age of social media. Even though Miz does all this charity work and stuff, you know, he does Be a Star, but he just plays that character so well that you just can't help but hate his guts. So really good job, Miz. Good job, Dolph Ziggler. Good job, Maurice, for just looking the way that you do. That's not important. Next, we get the Eater of Worlds, Bray Wyatt. And so this was the big news of the day. It seems that Randy Orton is not cleared to compete. And earlier in the night, we got to see Bray Wyatt attacking Orton's leg to, you know, so he can't compete. Very convenient, even though that just kind of stemmed from, you know, concussions and people who give you concussions, which isn't great. You shouldn't, that's not great. As we've seen in professional sports, concussions, untreated, don't go well. So I'm glad that Orton was kept out, even though I'm sure it would have been a decent match, and I would much rather have seen it than what we saw. So Bray Wyatt takes a forfeit victory over Orton, but what, you know, was weird the fact that Wyatt made the referee count to 10, which is kind of more like a count out than a forfeit. But looking here on Wikipedia, this match came in at 24 seconds, which, if I remember right, I believe Lil Nate was the referee. Proves that his count was just a little bit slow. Definitely a lot more than 10 seconds went by, but that's not important. And so was it Greg Hamilton, I think was the announcer, then announced that Bray Wyatt was going to have a no holds barred match against a mystery opponent. I had seen online that Wyatt had faced Kane the night before, so I thought, okay, that's the obvious choice. They'll just do that again. My heart of hearts, I really wanted it to be Luke Harper returning. That would have been great. I thought it would have been a good way to, one, Bray Wyatt would probably win that match, even though he doesn't win pay-per-view matches. And two, it would have been a great step up for Luke Harper to be in a match of such high caliber with Bray Wyatt. But we got Kane. That's just the way things happen sometimes. So that most people didn't like that. I didn't mind it. I thought that the no holds barred stipulation really negated the fact that it was this old man Kane. And I love Kane, so I mean, it's obviously not the best, but I thought they made the best of a bad situation with the fact that, you know, they were assuming that Orton was going to be cleared tonight and he wasn't, and so they had to pull something out of the hat. And so it was good to see, you know, the chair shots on Kane and on his leg and stuff, and going through the announce table was really cool. Get a little more edge to the show, but you don't have to go full bore and just having someone be destroyed with chairs and tables and ladders and stuff like that. You know, moderation is key, especially if we want to keep this more hardcore style important and special and near and dear to our hearts. As I know it is to a bunch of us, not really as much to me. Don't get me wrong, I love it, but I don't think it's something I need to see in every match or even every night. It's nice to see every once in a while. It's nice to see when it's used right. And I thought that tonight it was used right to kind of elevate this match from what probably would have been really terrible to what was actually a pretty solid match, until obviously Orton comes out at the end and causes Bray Wyatt. And the fact that Kane won a pay-per-view match against Bray Wyatt in 2016, which is bonkers, will be the word to use there, bonkers. The fact that the crowd cheered when it happened too. Like, where did that come from? Once again, this crowd I thought was just kind of in and out of it all night. Being pretty loud at some parts, being pretty quiet at some parts, but they popped for Kane winning the match. So, all right. All right. I don't know. I don't know. Anywho, so now we get to the finals of the Usos and the greatest tag team of all time, Heath Slater and future elected official Rhino. So I've said this on Twitter many times. I don't know if I've shared these thoughts on the show yet or not, but if nothing else comes out of this draft, if WWE for some reason goes bankrupt because of what happened in this draft and it just goes terribly wrong, we will always have Heath Slater. Heath Slater is easily the best thing to come out of this draft. It's amazing. I'm glad they're doing with him. I've always had a soft spot for old Heathy baby, and it's just so nice to see, and the way they built it up with his family and his 7 kids, which he may or may not like some or all of them, and his wife Beulah, and he's got to win the tournament to get a contract for SmackDown, and he's got to win it so he can buy his wife a double wide trailer, and he's got to, buy Rhino more Cheese Whiz because I'm sure Rhino probably ate all of the Slater's Cheese Whiz, and he has to buy his daughter a new tongue because she doesn't have a tongue. Just ludicrous, stupid, ridiculous stuff, which turned out to be absolutely hilarious and some of the best stuff they've done all year. And this has been a great year of wrestling. Argue with me all you want, storyline wise, but this has been great. And so somehow, it should be impossible, but Heath Slater and Rhino are your first ever SmackDown Tag Team Champions. And it's just so weird to say, like it doesn't even make sense. But I'm really happy. I would have liked to have maybe seen the storyline play out where Heath is still trying to get a contract and stuff. I thought that might still have some juice. And with the newly healed the Usos facing American Alpha, it would have been great. But it just depends. I think we're gonna have to wait until Tuesday to see how they keep playing out this Slater and Rhino thing. I think it might be kind of an interesting dynamic to say, oh, Heath, it's in your contract. You only have a contract as long as you're champion. And so that gives them, more incentive to win. And you can still kind of play on that, trying to keep a job thing and provide for the family, which has been absolutely great. And so I'm really excited to see where that goes. I'm sadly not going to be able to watch Raw and SmackDown this week because with work, I won't be home. I'm not sure if I'm going to be back for the live CWC final. I hope to God I am. I'm going to work my butt off to make sure that I get home in time to see that. I hope I am. I should be. I don't know. But we'll see. That's not what's important right now. Heath Slater is champion. Rhino is champion in 2016. It's crazy, but I love it, man. Just so many of these great, good feeling moments tonight. And we still have not the best. We still have them more yet to come as we get to AJ Styles, the greatest wrestler on earth, as said by many a person, many a fan, many a soul on the internet, which is the most important place to say whether or not somebody is good or not. And so I used to really like Dean Ambrose. Man, he was so good. But this title reign has been bad. And I apologize, Dean Ambrose fans, my co-host Matt. It just hasn't been good. For whatever reason, he hasn't put on good matches. His character has been It's not terrible. It's not great. He's still doing a lot of this stupid, bad comedy stuff. The stuff with the trophy and with just being a lunatic when he's not a lunatic. He's just, I don't know. It's been so bad. And obviously, people. I've told you guys before. I'm not a huge AJ Styles fan. I respect what he's done. He's one of the greatest wrestlers in the world. But just as a character, I wasn't really into this guy. But until recently, and since he's turned heel, on John Cena. He's been doing some of the absolute best work in the company has seen in years. Just the stuff with the headband and being billed as being wanting to be called the face who runs the place when John Cena's gone. It's just great. And obviously Ambrose has been lacking a bit. I think most people will agree with that. And I think he might have just been better trying to chase the title and trying to get that prize. And so this match was really good. As I said before, whatever was wrong with Ziggler and Ambrose, it just didn't click. I thought that Ambrose and Styles clicked a little bit better, which probably has something to do with the fact that AJ Styles is AJ Styles. A really good match, a lot of fun stuff. I even liked some of Dean's wacky lunatic stuff, running over the tables, over the railing, onto Styles. Just a lot of really good stuff going back and forth. I really enjoyed the match. It was long. It's clocked in at 25 minutes. I still think that Miz and Ziggler was a little better, but this was a great match. And Kyoto getting hit and Styles taking advantage of it with the low blow. We don't really see that kind of technical classic wrestling stuff where the heel cheats to win like the Miz did earlier and the way Styles did tonight. And it was really good. It was the perfect way for Styles to win. You know, the crowd had dueling chants, and honestly, I thought they were a little bit more pro Styles than they were pro Ambrose, and so that was a good way to keep heat on AJ Styles, and still having him win the match. AJ Styles is the WWE champion. That is a thing that's happening. If you would have said a year ago AJ Styles is going to be WWE champion within a year, I would have said you're a filthy, dirty, disgusting, bottom-feeding, trash bag. Wait a minute, I'm thinking of something different. I would have called you a liar. It just didn't seem possible. You know, there have been rumors that Styles was coming to WWE, but it hadn't happened yet, and all this other stuff. And he's put on, you know, possibly the best first 9 months of anyone, possibly the best 9 months of his career. Just phenomenal. Can't really wink with this eye as much as I can with this one. Plus, my eyes are already kind of slitted. You know, they're not, you know, wide open like this. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about AJ freaking Styles. And so, as I mentioned earlier with Kevin Owens, it is amazing to think that currently Kevin Owens, AJ Styles, and Shinsuke Nakamura are the top champions in WWE right now. It's just absolutely amazing to think about, and I don't know what we did to deserve this, but it's awesome. It's just plain awesome. There's no other way to describe it other than that. It's awesome. Awesome. And so yeah, that's about it for Backlash. Overall, really good show. Not a bad match on the card. Even the Bray Wyatt Kane match was good. Obviously, the ending wasn't great. Bray Wyatt losing again. Can't catch a break. But a really great show for something I had really low expectations for. And so props to WWE. Good job. I'll give you that one. But I'm going to wrap it up because I have to get up early and work a lot tomorrow, and I have to drive quite a ways, and I have to load things and walk a lot and just all this other stuff that nobody cares to hear about. So I need to pack and go to bed. So I thank you all for joining me. I appreciate the tweets from at KDP Buddha, at Max the Bull _ and Farmer as well, who is at Daily Matt Byrne. Follow all those guys on Twitter. Always great to interact with them and everyone via Twitter. Thank you for watching Locker Talk, episode 57. I have been Colton. I continue to be Colton. And I will see you next time for the 58th episode in the saga of Locker Talk. And I will see you then. And I'll catch you on Twitter at WWE Locker Talk. See you next time.